Has it ever happened to you that someone hurt you deeply and you felt like talking or trying to explain wouldn't make a difference? What if I told you that silence is often the strongest response? Silence not only helps you maintain your peace, but it also makes the person who hurt you realize the magnitude of their actions. Today we're going to talk about how silence and detachment can change the way you deal with these situations while helping you regain control of your life. In this video, I will show you that silence is not a sign of weakness but of emotional control. Silence is not about revenge, but about ridding yourself of bad things and showing that you are stronger than what was tried to do to you. You will see why withholding explanations can leave people speechless, how your absence can make those you have hurt reconsider their own stance, and most importantly, how this type of action can help end the suffering once and for all. If you want to learn how to turn difficult moments into opportunities for growth, this video is for you. Let us explore together how silence, detachment, and strategic calm can achieve more than any direct combat. Stay until the end, because each tip is designed to give you clarity, strength, and practical options for dealing with those who wanted to hurt you. Are you ready to change the game? Then let's get started. Strategy 1. The relentless impact of dissatisfaction. Let's start with Maria's story. Imagine that after many years of friendship, Maria was betrayed by someone she considered part of her family. This friend, who was expecting shouting, accusations, or a big argument, was completely surprised when Maria simply walked away without saying anything or making an explanation. There were no messages or attempts to clarify the situation because there was nothing left for Maria to do. Maria's silence said more than any words could, leaving her friend confused and unable to understand what had happened. This is the power of not having to justify yourself. If you choose not to react, you create a void that no one knows how to fill. Anyone who expects an explanation is lost, because silence shatters all expectations. People are used to seeing reactions and hearing defensiveness, but when that doesn't happen, they lose control of the situation. It's like putting the entire burden of the situation on them without doing anything. If you don't explain, you are showing something very powerful: self-control. By not reacting, you show that you are in control of your emotions and will not let others make you lose your temper. It's not about running away or ignoring the problem. It's about not wasting energy on situations or people who don't deserve it. Your calmness is actually your greatest strength. Think of how many times an argument has become an endless cycle because someone felt like they had to explain, justify, or convince the other person of something. Such situations rarely end well. Instead, they tire you out and often strengthen the position of the person who hurt you. When you choose not to give satisfaction, you break the cycle of constantly explaining or reacting because you are not satisfying the other person's need for control. The most important thing is that silence shows maturity. It shows that you don't have to prove anything to anyone. It does not mean that you agree or accept what happened, but that you choose to keep your peace. If someone hurts you and sees that you don't respond, they are forced to face the consequences of their actions themselves. In Maria's case, she not only protected her mental health by avoiding a grueling argument, but she also made it clear that it was her decision to walk away. She didn't want to let her boyfriend manipulate her or downplay the severity of the betrayal. This is the power of not giving satisfaction. This decision takes courage, but it can completely change the way you deal with emotional problems. Strategy 2. Make her doubt her own actions by being away. Now that we know Maria's story, it's time to talk a little about João, who had a quality that was very well known among his colleagues. He was the conflict resolver. Whenever someone hurt him, he saw it as his job to confront the person, reveal their feelings, and sort everything out there and then. John believed that discussions and attempts at clarification were essential to peace and understanding. However, over time, he found that even though he did his best to solve problems, things often did not improve. On the contrary, some situations became more aggravated, and he felt exhausted by the fruitless attempts. In a moment of reflection, João decided to try something new. Instead of responding to the provocations of a work colleague who constantly disrespected him, he decided to remain silent. He stopped responding, avoided engaging in unnecessary conversations, and reduced contact with this colleague as much as possible. At first it seemed like a difficult decision, but soon something surprising happened. The colleague who had previously felt so comfortable teasing John began to question his own attitude. Without John's immediate reaction, it became clear who was in control of the situation. And contrary to what John thought, his absence brought about a much more effective change than any confrontation. John's experience demonstrates the power of strategic absence. Sometimes when we are disrespected or hurt, we feel like we have to do something to solve the problem. However, withdrawing from a toxic situation can be much more powerful than any reaction. By walking away, John wasn't running away from the problem. He created a space in which the person who had hurt him was forced to examine his own actions. Without John being present to respond or justify himself, the colleague was made to reflect on the implications of his behavior. His absence became like a mirror that clearly reflected the true dynamics of the relationship. Strategic absence is not about ignoring or giving up, but about setting clear boundaries and giving the other person the opportunity to face the reality of their actions. This type of behavior requires self-control and wisdom, because it is not about manipulation, but about protecting yourself and staying true to your values. Conscious presence and strategic absence go hand in hand to live a balanced and healthy life. Conscious presence means carefully choosing where and with whom you spend your energy. This means being in places and with people who nourish you, do you good, and respect your choices. Strategic absence, on the other hand, means you remove yourself from a situation to change the dynamic and make it clear that something needs to be reconsidered. This combination of conscious presence and absence when necessary shows that you are in control of your decisions and will not accept less than you deserve. This is especially important in broken relationships, where we often try to fix everything even if the other person is unwilling to do the same. By walking away, you are sending a strong message. I am not willing to be treated like this. Absence is in itself a lesson in respect and self-care. When you leave a situation where you are not valued, you show without words that a lack of respect and reciprocity has no place in your life. This action, no matter how silent, can trigger deep thought in the other person. Often withdrawal leads to regret, or at least the realization that something needs to change. It is important to emphasize that absence is not a form of manipulation or revenge, but rather a way to create healthy boundaries and protect one's well-being. John didn't need difficult conversations or direct confrontation with his co-worker. His absence was more meaningful than any words could have been. The colleague, sensing the lack of interaction and understanding, was forced to reflect on his behavior and ultimately changed his attitude. This is the true magic of strategic absence. It has the power to make the other person doubt their own decisions and think about the impact of their stance. In the meantime, move forward strengthened and at peace without getting lost in discussions that will lead to nothing positive. The absence allows you to focus on yourself, your own growth, and your own values. It is not an escape, but a conscious decision to remove yourself from situations that are not beneficial and maintain inner peace. By practicing this strategic absence, you will learn to value yourself and set the boundaries you need to have healthier, more balanced relationships. And if you like the content, consider becoming a member of the channel. Not only do you support the channel, but you also receive exclusive content. Click on the link in the description and become a member now. Back to content. Strategy 3. How to break the pain cycle with an act of detachment. Breaking the cycle of pain begins with a clear and firm decision, eliminating all opportunities to reconnect with what or who is hurting you. This decision requires courage because it means closing the doors once and for all, leaving no room for backsliding or moments of weakness. It can be tempting to maintain minimal contact, e.g., for example, sending a message or even liking a post on social media because you think it might be harmless. But every interaction, no matter how small, can become an emotional trigger that takes you back to a place of pain and confusion. Every time you allow a trigger to occur, you reinstate the cycle you so desperately want to break. That's why it's important to cut communication channels and take practical measures such as blocking phone numbers or pausing occasional meetings to ensure recovery is real and lasting. It is like putting up a protective shield that keeps you away from what hurts you and from the situations that still have the power to hurt you. In this context, letting go is not a sign of indifference or weakness, but on the contrary of strength and self-worth. It is a profound act of self-care that requires you to prioritize your peace and happiness, even if it means giving up something that was once very important to you. This is the moment when you need to remember that your life and your well-being are worth more than any relationship, situation, or passing emotion. Detachment is a difficult path because it often involves the discomfort of absence, the initial emptiness that comes from separating from something or someone that you thought was part of your life. However, in this empty space, you have the opportunity to reconnect with yourself, understand who you really are, and what you need to move forward. By practicing detachment, you are telling yourself that you will no longer live under the control of past hurts or the attitudes of those who disrespect you. It's no longer about what you've lost, but about what you're gaining: emotional freedom, self-control, and the opportunity to rewrite your story. The focus in this process must always be on you. Letting go is also about no longer looking for external validation. You don't need apologies, explanations, or regrets from others to move forward. It's no longer about waiting for the other person to change, but about changing your own reaction to what happened. Detachment is an exercise in self-sufficiency, realizing that you can live without what hurt you, without holding on to emotions that no longer serve you. And by making room for the new, you create a life in which there is room for what strengthens you, what welcomes you, and what makes you grow. It's not easy, and it won't always happen right away. But with every step you take to move away from what hurts you, you move toward an easier, more peaceful life full of possibilities. The process of letting go is an ongoing process that, while challenging, becomes easier over time. What seemed unbearable once overcome becomes a distant memory, something that loses its emotional weight as you grow. This move to eliminate the chances of reconnection is also an exercise in taking control of your own journey. When you realize that your peace is more important than any relationship or situation that does not contribute positively to your life, you take control of your destiny. This is much more than just a breakup. It is a form of profound self-care. Every time you separate yourself from something that hurts you, you are telling yourself that you deserve better, that you deserve to be treated with respect and love, and that you will no longer submit to suffering. This type of decision strengthens your being because it is an act of self-love. Cultivating these habits of protection and care over time will create a solid emotional foundation that can withstand any storm. Detachment then becomes a gateway to a more fulfilling life, where you are free to live more consciously and in harmony with what truly matters. 4. Coldness that leaves scars bigger than words. When you choose to remain cold towards someone who has hurt you, the message you are sending is very clear. I don't have to show that I'm affected to prove that I'm over it. Acting this way can be more powerful than shouting or arguing. Why is that? Because when you remain emotionless, you create a great contrast. The person who hurt you expected you to lose your temper, become angry or sad. When this does not happen, the emptiness that remains is difficult for the one who was expecting a reaction. Being cold is like putting out a fire with ice. Think of an argument in which someone insults you and expects you to respond the same way. Instead, stay calm, respond neutrally, or simply say nothing. The person doesn't know what to do because they expected you to fight and not stay calm. This concealment of feelings is a blow that hurts more than any words. Staying cool doesn't mean ignoring your feelings, but rather deciding when and how to show them. It's a way to conserve your energy. Intense fights usually give the other person power and make them feel important. But if you're cold, don't give up that power. This shows that you have the situation under control. A good comparison would be a game of chess. In chess, the silence between moves is as important as the moves themselves. When you act coldly, it is as if you are waiting for the right moment to play, forcing the other person to think about what they are going to do. This space of doubt causes them to question their own actions and their impact on you. And that is exactly the strength of cold. It makes the other person doubt and at the same time strengthens your position. When someone hurts you, it's natural to want to react immediately and give a response that matches the pain you feel. But it's important to stop for a moment and think, what would really be more effective? An outburst of anger that only fuels the negative cycle, or a calm demeanor that surprises the person and leaves them unsure how to react? Although at first glance, it may seem like anger is a satisfactory response, choosing to remain calm and act cool actually yields much better results in the long run. In this context, calmness does not mean being insensitive, but rather showing self-control. When you act calmly without being provoked, you send a clear message that you are no longer willing to participate in the toxic dynamic the person is trying to create. By acting without emotion, you protect your inner peace and dignity. As a result, the person who hurt you begins to realize that he or she has lost the power to affect you emotionally. What used to be easy, e.g. provoking a reaction from you, now becomes a futile endeavor. The person begins to realize that their attempt at manipulation or control has failed, and this creates a much longer-lasting feeling of discomfort than yelling or verbal exchanges ever could. This attitude is not cruel, nor does it mean that you don't care. On the contrary, strategic calm shows deep respect for yourself because it shows that you want to protect your emotional energy. Instead of engaging in an ego battle, maintain your composure and focus. This attitude is like a protective shield that prevents others from invading your emotional space. Coldness is not a sign of indifference, but a clear indication that you value yourself and will no longer tolerate being treated unkindly. When you emotionally distance yourself from someone who hurts you, you create an invisible but very strong barrier between yourself and the other person's behavior. This type of response is a powerful form of communication, more effective than any word spoken in the heat of the moment. Over time, the person who hurt you will realize that by trying to touch your heart or disturb your peace, they have lost access to your vulnerability, and that is often a much more powerful lesson. This is not revenge, but a way to protect yourself and show that you alone have the power to control your emotions. 5. The unexpected reaction they will never forget. Have you ever noticed that people expect you to react a certain way, especially when there is an argument? Those who hurt you usually expect you to get very angry, fight back, or show that you have been hurt. Therefore, a different response, such as being friendly or indifferent, can be very effective. It disrupts the entire way the person thought you would behave and changes the situation in a way they didn't expect. Different reactions are disarming because they confuse the person who wanted to hurt you. Imagine someone saying nasty things to you or doing something bad and expecting you to react the same way. But instead, stay calm or even act friendly. This is not what the person expected, and it can leave a lasting impression because they don't know how to deal with something that is so different than what they expected. Being unpredictable doesn't mean you have to pretend to be someone else, but it does mean you have to learn not to behave the same way all the time. Instead of getting angry when someone provokes you, try asking in a gentle way, such as, "B, are you okay?" Or if the person expects you to get emotionally involved, just show indifference. Unpredictability isn't about outsmarting someone. It's about behaving in a way that keeps your peace and confuses those who seek to destabilize you. It is important to know how you normally react. Think about how you normally behave when problems arise, and then try to act differently. If someone expects you to scream, stay quiet. If he expects you to ignore him, respond with a calm smile. This will change the situation and make the other person think about their behavior. Imagine a colleague trying to annoy you at work or belittle your contribution to a project. The usual reaction would be to defend yourself or refute the provocation, right? But what if you instead surprised everyone with a genuine compliment about something positive their colleague did? Maybe a job well done or an idea you find interesting, This approach not only unsettles you, but also puts you in a higher emotional position. By reacting in an unexpected way, you not only disarm the person, but also show that you are in control of the situation and make it clear that provocation has no power over you. This attitude of calm and elegance is very effective because it does not give the conflict any room to escalate. Instead of fueling the drama, choose to leave it with intelligence and poise. This sends the silent message that you are on a higher emotional level where there is no room for pointless arguments. If someone tries to engage you in a dramatic or confrontational situation, a neutral or even gentle stance can be the key to stopping the toxic cycle before it starts to develop. Often people expect an emotional response, an impulsive response that only fuels the fire of discord. However, if you respond with kindness without resorting to provocation, you not only end the situation calmly, but also show that you are in control of your emotions. In this context, kindness is not a sign of weakness, but rather evidence of inner strength. It shows that you will not allow yourself to be dragged down by the emotional storms that others try to create around you. Indifference is also an effective way to deal with such situations. It makes it clear that you will not allow the negativity of others to affect your emotional state. By remaining calm and not reacting, you signal that you are withdrawing from the emotional games that people are trying to play with you. The real key here is the unpredictability of your reaction. No matter what the other person does, you don't have to react impulsively. The real power lies in taking control of your emotions and strategically choosing your response. By doing this, you break the predictable cycle of emotional responses and instead give a response that demonstrates your integrity and self-control. Whether with kindness, indifference, or some other attitude that defies the expectations of the moment, your ability to remain steadfast and composed without giving in to the chaos around you will be remembered by people. At the end of the day, you maintain your calm, your dignity, and your integrity and show that nothing can shake your true nature. That's what really matters. But there is something else important to note. If you've been trying to get out of your comfort zone and learn more for a long time but still haven't succeeded, there may be something you don't realize. I know what it could be. It's fear. Fears are like a snake that eats its way into you unnoticed. It makes you sick for days, months, and even years. Living like this is like being sick all the time. But I know a solution. The Stoic philosophers and modern psychology have found a way to get rid of them. I managed to heal myself from this fear. I made a video explaining how you can get rid of them, and it can be seen in the first comment. Click the link in the first comment and start healing yourself from that feeling of fear. 6. Why breaking off contact is more effective than you think. Cutting off all communication with someone who has hurt you may seem like a very strong decision, but it is actually one of the most effective ways to protect your peace. If you maintain contact, no matter how small, you still allow the person a certain amount of space in your life and therefore in your thoughts. Ending communication is not about seeking revenge or despising the person, but about realizing that you deserve better than a relationship that hurts you or doesn't treat you with respect. The decision to cut off contact has a profound impact on both you and the person who hurt you. For you, it's a form of freedom. Without news, social media, and random meetings, you create a safe space in which you can heal and rebuild your trust. Your absence has a strong impact on the other person. Without the opportunity to talk to you, you lose the chance to touch on your feelings. This distance makes the person think in a way that no confrontation could. Complete absence is a gesture closely linked to self-love and is a clear sign that you prioritize your inner peace and emotional health. Oftentimes in toxic or harmful relationships, we are lured into continuing to engage in them even when we know it is bad for us. This is because our minds can lead us to believe that we should hold on to the relationship out of loyalty, fear of being misunderstood, or even habit of dealing with suffering. However, the decision to separate is an act of courage. It means telling yourself, I deserve better, I deserve to live in peace. Absence is not about ignoring or being indifferent to others. but about recognizing that in order to heal, you must move away from the sources that hurt you. Instead of confrontations and arguments that only prolong suffering, absence closes the cycle of pain once and for all, because there is no longer any room for manipulation or new conflicts. By stepping back, you give yourself the respect you deserve and allow you to direct your energy toward your own healing. To cut contact in a healthy way, the first step is always to honestly think about the impact the person is having on your life. Ask yourself, does this relationship bring me peace or sorrow? If the answer is suffering, then the decision to end the relationship is a necessary step. Be clear about what you need to protect yourself emotionally. This could include blocking the person on social media, stopping direct communication, or even avoiding certain places where you know you might encounter the person. You don't need to give long or dramatic explanations unless you feel it is important to the situation. If you decide to speak up, be objective and decisive, but don't let the emotions of the moment guide you. What's important is that you know you're doing it for your mental health and well-being. The biggest challenge is often not breaking off contact, but sticking with the decision not to give in to attempts to get back together. Remember that this is not to reject the person, but to take care of yourself. After the decision is made, the process of moving away can be emotionally challenging, especially if there was a strong connection. Longing, doubt, and emptiness can arise, but it is important to remember that this pain is temporary. When you decide to move away, you create a space for self-care and personal growth that didn't exist before. Use this time to focus on activities that are really good for you. This can be anything that helps you reconnect with yourself. Reading a good book, learning something new, spending time with people you value, or exercising. What's important is that you fill this space with something that builds you up and boosts your self-esteem. The more you focus on yourself, the more the absence of others becomes a reflection of your own freedom. Breaking up is not a selfish act, but a decision that puts your emotional health first. By distancing yourself from those who disrespect you, you open the doors to new relationships that are more constructive and positive, and create a circle of support that truly values you as you are. This is one of the most powerful ways to manifest self-love. By distancing yourself from what hurts you, you make room for what is good and real to enter your life. 7. Show that you move on without needing anyone. Moving on without needing anyone is one of the most powerful things you can do in life. When you stop waiting for the person who hurt you to show remorse or acknowledge you, something incredible happens. You take the attention away from the other person and put it entirely on yourself. This change not only takes away the emotional burden you have been carrying, but also sends a very powerful message, even without words. Nothing shows your strength more than showing that you can grow and be happy yourself. Taking care of your own development is the best gift you can give yourself, and also the strongest answer to those who doubted you. Imagine the amazement of those who thought you would never move again when they see you grow and improve in different areas of life, such as in work, in studies, or even in the way you care for yourself. This growth says much more than any dispute or argument. It shows, without saying anything, that you have decided to take yourself seriously. Growing up is one of the most powerful ways to move forward. It's not about proving something to someone, but about showing yourself that you can do it. If someone has doubted you or tried to make you feel inferior, what could be more powerful than showing that you have overcome those expectations and built something that you are proud of? Every victory you achieve is a silent but clear answer that you don't need anyone to shine. This path of development is also about writing a new story. When you let go of the things that have been holding you back, you make room for something completely new. What happened in the past doesn't matter. What matters is what you decide to do now. And the best part is that this new story depends only on you. You are its author, and no one can take that away from you. But how do you get started? The first step is to face your own dreams and goals. Ask yourself what you want to achieve regardless of what others think or do. Then do something every day to achieve that goal. This could be learning something new, improving at work, or simply taking more care of yourself. Every step is important, and every progress reminds you that you are in control of your life. Don't forget to celebrate your victories, even the small ones. Sometimes just making progress is a great success. The person who tried to belittle you doesn't need to know everything, but the change you are making in your life will be visible. Your development will be enough to show that you have chosen to grow rather than stay stuck in what you have been going through. Getting to the point where you can move forward without depending on anyone is undoubtedly one of the greatest acts of self-love you can practice. It means recognizing that you are fully yourself, that your peace and happiness do not depend on external validation, but come from within. When you reconnect with yourself and find the strength within yourself to carry on, you send a powerful message to the world, and especially to those who have tried to bring you down. I am stronger than any challenge, and what does not break me makes me grow. Those who have tried to hurt you will soon realize that you are indestructible and that your ability to start over is infinite. Instead of losing yourself in suffering, you rebuild yourself, learn and thrive even more. This is the greatest victory, the most profound and the greatest lesson you can pass on, not only to those who have watched you, but also to yourself. After all, you are living proof that true strength comes from within, and that if you believe in your own strength, nothing can bring you down. At the end of this video, I would like to leave you with a simple but transformative reflection. Often the most powerful answers come not through words, but through silence, detachment, and concentration on your own growth. We talked about how in difficult situations, it is not necessary to get involved in arguments or justify your decisions. Often your absence, your decision not to respond, says more than any words could. By focusing on yourself, you become an example of strength and confidence, and that's the best way to turn the tide. Always remember, you are in complete control of your life. No one can take it away from you except you. The key to your growth and freedom lies in your hands. You don't need applause or recognition to know you're moving forward. Every small decision, every step towards your well-being and self-discovery is a clear message about who you have become and how much you value yourself. No matter what anyone says or does, what really matters is how you choose to move forward with courage, dignity, and most of all, self-love. Now I want to hear from you. Share in the comments how you plan to put these strategies into practice and how they can change the way you deal with life's challenges. Your experiences and reflections are valuable and can inspire others who are on the same journey. Also, check out the exclusive content in the comment box. It was created specifically to reinforce these ideas and help you practically apply everything we've discussed here in your life. You deserve to live a life full of peace, self-respect, and true happiness, free from anything that is not good for you. Until the next video, and remember, always walk with the Creator with faith and with courage to be the best version of yourself.